Good afternoon and welcome to the industry's weekly video news bulletin. Play Print21 from the people who know print. This week's issue sponsored by Ball & Doggett, Australia's largest supplier or largest distributor of printable materials and consumables. News this week is dominated by COVID, of course, with Sydney due to come out of lockdown any week now, or any day now, on Monday in fact, and Melbourne in 2 weeks' time. The big story is mandatory workplace vaccinations. The Victoria State Government has told all authorised workers, which includes all manufacturing, such as print, that they must have at least one dose of COVID by 15th of October and the second dose by the 26th of November to carry on with their jobs. Print business staff fall under the all manufacturing category on the Victoria authorised workers list. It's under this category that print businesses have been able to keep operating during the various lockdowns that have been going on in COVID. Walter Kuhn, president of PVCA, said the mandate is clear. All staff working on site at print businesses in Victoria now need to be vaccinated by the required dates to be able to continue to come to work. The mandate takes the liability for print business owners. They want their staff vaccinated off them and onto the state government. In other states that have not yet have mandated vaccination by the government, the liability remains with the employer if the business mandates vaccination. Charles Watson, General Manager, IR Policy and Governance at TRMC, said Victorian print staff are in the authorised worker category. We assume the entire industry is under that authorised worker sector. That does mean that print staff will need to meet the vaccination requirements or deadlines to be able to continue to come to work. Watson said TRMC is waiting to see the full detail of the health directive, but he said based on what we have seen before, we anticipate that employers will have an obligation to check and record the evidence of the vaccination status of all their staff. So to sum up, all workers on site at print businesses in Victoria have to have the first jab by 15th of October, have to show evidence they've had it to the owner. Any print worker who is against the idea will be taking the state government to court, not the print business owner. In the rest of the country, all of the states though, vaccination has not been mandated by the government, which means effectively that if a print business mandates it, then they may end up in court against the worker if the worker wants to force the issue. So far, the News Limited plant in Chullora, the giant plant there, prints most of the Sydney Metro papers. It's the biggest print site to mandate vaccinations. The level of complexity with workers' compensation, anti-discrimination laws, human rights issues on both sides will take some untangling. Apart from COVID, the other main news story of the week for ANZ Print is in shipping, and specifically the impact on supply and prices. For months now, printers are facing increased costs as soaring shipping charges send prices of many consumables, including paper, up again. Ball & Doggett has just introduced a range of rises this week across its products, with spices set to increase its prices imminently, and others sure to follow. Shipping is becoming a major issue as capacity constraints and availability is dictated by spot pricing, which does not favour Australia or New Zealand. In recent weeks, US traders have been outbidding everyone, sending a significant amount of capacity that would have been coming especially from Singapore and Asia down to Australia, over to the States instead. Freight costs have risen by double-digit percentages in just the past month alone on what were already sky-high prices. They've doubled, tripled or even quadrupled over the past year. Local merchants are having to pay at least $3,000 or $4,000 more per container for their containers this year than they were just a year ago. Tony Bertrand, marketing manager at Ball & Doggett, said US companies are paying top dollar, which is causing vessels to be diverted over to the States. David Martin, CEO at Spices, said it's hard to keep up with all the changes in pricing, with the changing prices that are going on, but he can't see them going down anytime soon. Rather, they look set to keep rising. Always plenty going on, although in the print industry, although events remain mainly online for now. However, next week Heidelberg is running its Innovation Week, online and in person if you're in Germany, online in Germany in the evenings for Aussie and Kiwi printers. Handy timing, daytime in Germany of course, evening time there. In 2 weeks time, Horizon is running a Smart Factory, again as a hybrid event from Japan with local printers able to attend online. And then at the end of the month, the remaining Pikers will take place as in-person events for Victoria, New South Wales and Western Australia. Go to print21.com.au for details and links to register for all these events. Heidelberg, Horizon, the Pikers. That's it for this week's issue of Play Print 21. Thanks to our sponsor, Ball & Doggett, Australia's largest distributor of printable materials. This is Wayne Robinson, signing off for another week.